Arndt thinks he is leaving his sister alone for only a few minutes. She is exhausted. The house is somewhere ahead in the dark, and the low hill beside them looks like nothing more than a place to rest. When he comes back, Reutha is gone. What follows is a folklore tale about how far a brother will go, and what can make him forget why he went. Night crowds the windows and presses against the glass. The world outside is sealed behind curtains, unseen, but the cold cuts through. Arndt and Reutha walk the moor, returning from work, their small hands raw from toil. Weariness drags at their bodies. Each step is taken against the wind that lashes their faces. In the dark, the Baltic's roar rolls from the horizon, deep, unending, a voice wider than the children and their exhaustion. "Dear Arndt, let me sit down and rest for a minute. I can go no farther," Reutha said, her voice small as she folded into the worn earth, the mound rising at her back, bushes low on the empty moor. Arndt stooped beside her, voice gentle. He tried to lift her, arms tensing, but she pressed back down. He could not bear her weight. They returned to the mound together, the path behind left uncertain. The moon slid from behind a cloud. Chill clarity spread, and the hillock took on a resting place almost imagined, making Reutha ache to stay beneath its brush shelter. The air was mild. Arndt, unafraid, tucked her inside the wool cloak, settling her. "I will just run a little farther and try if I can see the light in Father's window," Arndt said, his hand lingering at her shoulder. "You will not be afraid, Reutha?" She drew her knees close. "Oh no, I am never afraid." "And you will not go to sleep?" "Not I," she promised. But her fingers rubbed her eyes, her head pressing to a branch that felt almost soft as sleep. Arndt hurried ahead, footsteps muffled by the moor, until the distant window flame flickered into view, a quiet guide. Relief swept in. He turned back, sure of the path and his sister waiting. The mound was empty. Reutha was not there. Arndt rushed among the tangled bushes, searching with shaking hands. But she was gone. He called her name, louder each time, but no voice answered him. No sign of her lingered. He had been gone less than 5 minutes. "Oh, what shall I do?" Arndt sobbed, words rough in his throat. "I dare not go home without Reutha." He slid to the grass by the low hillock, hands clenched, unsure whether any sound would answer. Only silence met him. A peddler came along the path, an old man with his bag of ribbons and folded cloths brushing against his leg. He paused beside Arndt. "How you are grown since last I saw you, my little fellow," he said, searching Arndt's face. "And where is your sister, Reutha?" Tears broke loose from Arndt, his story halting. The vanished sibling at night. The emptiness left over when he called for her. The old man's face tightened with each detail as Arndt stammered out that Reutha had vanished on this hill. The peddler bent close, voice nearly lost in the hush. "Arndt, did you ever hear of the hillmen? It is they who have carried little Reutha away." His words left the air colder. He spoke of his own young days, old tales that lingered on the moor, of this hill hiding homes beneath for the little folk. Dwarfs who sometimes took children underground to work for them, leaving their shoes above in the grass. "For," the peddler said, "the hill people are very particular. Their servants must wear beautiful glass shoes instead of clumsy leather." He and Arndt searched with trembling hands along the hill. In the tangled grass, they found Reutha's small shoes, soft with dew and left behind. At the sight, new tears broke from Arndt, pressing out without end. "Oh, what shall I do to bring back my poor sister? The hillmen and women will kill her." Arndt's voice shook at the still edge. "No," answered the old man. "They are very good little people, and they live in a beautiful palace underground. Truly, you will never see Reutha again, for they will keep her with them 100 years. And when she comes back, you will be dead and buried, while she is still a beautiful child." The peddler leaned in, setting his pack on the grass, and let the stories spill. The riches and splendor hidden beneath the hill. The little folk seen dancing on the mounds by night, green caps catching the starlight. If a mortal could claim one, the dwarfs were bound to serve him in all things. Arndt listened without blinking, each word drawing him forward. When the peddler left, darkness sifted through the afternoon. and Arndt sat, the ache of loss held close beside the vivid outline of the story. At last his voice sounded quietly. "I will do it. I will try to get my dear Reutha safe back again." Arndt has heard enough. The hill is no longer a story being told to him by someone older. It is the place where Reutha may still be waiting. From here, the tale moves inside his experience. I move, almost without breath, toward the mound where the hillmen are said to dwell. Every leaf presses close as I nestle into the bushes, the hush taking me. Thick darkness clutches my heart, racing wild and restless until only one thought settles it. Reutha is lost, and it is for her that I am here. Light fractures the dark, too sudden, too bright, filling my eyes. It cannot be the moon. She is already gone. No, this is something altogether more brilliant, richer than anything I have ever known. The hill parts, the earth lifting its skin for me alone. Through the gap, an underground palace gleams, gold and gems glinting in the glow. The hillmen move and dance, dressed as miniature men and women. They are all beauty, each no larger than my infant sister, Reutha. One by one, they float upward, out onto the snowy mound, and spin and tumble in quick delight. Flowers open beneath their feet, petals breaking through frost. The air shifts, warmer, brighter. Their play changes to a tossing game, green caps whirling until one arcs wide, falling silent across my brow. My hands close around it before I understand. The cry that escapes me is sharp, victorious. Light drains. The vision collapses, replaced by darkness. Only a thin, trembling voice comes, close as breath cupped against my ear. "Please, noble gentleman, give me my cap again." "No, no, good hillman," I answer. "You have taken my little sister. I will keep your cap." The hillman's whisper pleads, "I will give you a better cap for it, all gold and jewels, so beautiful. I will not have it. What use is there for me? No, I am your master now, as you know. Take me down within the hill. I must see Reutha." A glow, faint as a resting firefly, appears on the grass. The mound opens anew. This time the palace pulls back into a stairway, shadowed, somber. At its crest stands the hillman, bowing again and again, amber lamp raised and trembling in his hand. I peer downward, nerves coiling sharp in my chest. Yet the memory of Reutha returns, and the shape of my love for her gathers me, forcing my jaw firm. I let myself rise into a lordly pose and order, "Lead the way." He guides me through arc after arc, galleries, halls, gardens, each vision more lush than the last. Colors and scents flood me, senses battered with wonder. Often I stop, my voice breaking through. "Reutha?" They answer only by drawing open another dazzling room or setting out some delicate feast. Always a new marvel before me. Little by little, shadows pass over the memory of my sister, until pleasure wraps around me hour by hour in the palace's embrace. Night arrives, if night it can be called. Here, where it is only a gentler afternoon, music soaking my body until I slip into a soft haze instead of sleep, needing nothing more. Days slide by, bright with laughter and easy joy. The hill folk live for delight, shaping every wish of mine. I do not notice that each pleasure is given to keep my purpose distant, hidden. One day finds me lying in the fairy garden's cool, vivid grass. A song, low and sorrowful, brushes past my ear. I turn, and beyond a sweep of green, small, mortal children labor, some digging in the earth, others twisting bright metalwork, a few standing in a noisy stream, hands striking against cloth. Near them, among those hard-working, singing girls, is Reutha, my sister, unchanged and still apart from me. "No one cares for me," she murmured, the note of her song gone plaintive, a quiet sorrow layered over her words, so far from the brightness she once spoke. Reutha is alone. Her hands are sore with toil. Her feet bleed, but no one pities her. Arndt sleeps in gorgeous clothes, while Reutha toils in rags. Arndt is the master, Reutha is the slave. Poor Reutha is quite alone. I think this is the first moment the palace stops looking beautiful. Nothing in it has changed. Arndt has simply heard Reutha describe what all that comfort has meant from where she stands. Even beneath the spell of fairyland, her voice reached her brother. He called for the hill people to bring Reutha to him. When they brought her to his side, he kissed her, wept over her, and wrapped her in his beautiful robes. The hillmen, silent, did not interfere. Arndt took his sister's hand in his. "Now let us go. We have stayed long enough. Good hillman, you will have your cap again when you bring Reutha and me to our own father's door." But the hillman shook his tiny head and made his most careful bow. "Noble master, anything but this. This little maid we found asleep on our hill, and she is ours for 100 years. Arndt's anger rose. He no longer feared the dwarfs, certain the little green cap was his shield. He stamped his foot, and the hillman leaped up, pleading for patience. "How dare you keep my sister? You ugly little creatures!" Arndt cried. And as he spoke, his former companion seemed distant to him. The hill people replied gently, and at last Arndt's anger fell away in shame. They guided him into a palace finer than any he had seen, where baskets of pearls and diamonds shimmered in the lamplight. "You shall take all these away with you, noble sir," his small servant offered. "They will make you rich, and you may live in a palace as grand as ours. Is not this far better than having a poor, helpless sister to care for?" But Arndt, catching sight of Reutha just outside, her face hidden in her hands, afraid to come in, turned from the treasures. He kicked the baskets over, scattering the jewels like pebbles. "Keep all your treasures and give me my sister," he cried. The hillman shifted, his intent turning quietly as he sought another weakness. Arndt, who had grown used to admiring himself, remembering how his hands had lifted water from the shining pool just to watch his own reflection linger across its surface, felt the old certainty flicker. He'd often marked the gold in his hair, traced how his form moved among the standing grain, each motion graceful, already different. The hillman seemed to know this hidden pride, guiding Arndt with a silent gesture toward a crystal mirror. Behind the glass, Arndt saw his image shimmer in splendid clothes, every line refined beyond memory. Then, beside that, magic drew up another form. The same peasant shape he'd brought inside mere hours before, rough-handed and plain. A hush grazed his ear as the dwarf's whisper came. "Think how different," like a wire drawn tight, then a slow breath graying the glass. The reflection shifted, dividing futures. In one, Arndt toiling under the sun, hands calloused, face marked by labor. In the other, a noble youth with his own features, all grace and untroubled ease, like the beauty the stream had taunted. The tempting voice seemed to curl near his shoulder. "We can make you always thus handsome. Choose which you will be." The words flickered close, and everything in him paused at the offer's edge, breath suspended. Doubt gathered as the old sorrow called out, a voice he knew. "My brother is rich, and I am poor. He is clad in silk, and I in rags. Alas, for me." Something in Arndt steadied, held close by resolve. "It shall not be." His answer rose, sure and swift. "I will go out of this place as poor as I came, but I will take Reutha with me. I will work all the days of my life, but Reutha shall not stay here. Hill people, I want none of your treasures, but I command you to give me my sister and let us go." He found his sister and drew her into his arms. Together they passed through the radiant halls while the hill folk drifted behind, voices sweet and smiles bright, the air close with longing and invitations he did not take. But it was Reutha's quiet voice, her smile gentle and present, that steadied Arndt's heart and brought him past every shining temptation. They climbed the narrow dark steps and reached the opening carved into the hill's side. The space ahead pressed close, the earth cool and steady beneath their feet. The little hillman turned, looking up, his voice hopeful as he tried again. "Noble gentlemen, remember with Reutha there is a life of work. Without her it is pleasure, but only alone. Will you reconsider?" His plea trembled between them. Arndt's answer came at once. "No, not for a moment." The air from above touched his cheek, raw and good after the sweetness of elfin land. "At least, kind master, return my cap," the hillman begged. "Take it, and goodbye forevermore," Arndt called, pulling his sister close. Together they leaped through the opening. The passage vanished, ceiling shut. They landed side by side in deep snow, the chill vivid through their clothes as the gray dawn broke above. Their mother's voice met them at the door, still edged with worry. "Where have you been all night, my children?" Her arms at her sides, the closed door not yet yielding, she watched as they stepped inside. Uncertainty waited in the hallway. Had it truly been just one night? Or had the months beneath the hill quietly folded time upon itself? No reply came, for the wisdom learned in fairyland was already gone, faded from their grasp. Only a trace of that night lingered, distant as a dream. Yet the brother and sister held to each other with new closeness, an enduring warmth that quietly remained as their days unfolded. What stays with me is how little of fairyland survives the return home. The riches are gone. Even the certainty of how long they were away begins to blur. But Arndt and Reutha come back holding to each other differently than before. The magic fades, that change does not. If you want more old folklore where the supernatural is only half the story, subscribe. I'll keep bringing you tales where the stranger question is what people choose when the impossible starts bargaining with them.